Welcome back, everybody. My name is Tom Olsen. The name of the show is Olsen on Law, every Saturday at 11 a.m. right here on News 96.5. I'd like to take this opportunity to pull up my friend, attorney Charlie Price with the Price Law Firm right here in Orlando. Charlie focuses on tax issues. Hello, Charlie.
Good morning, Tom. Good morning, Chris. How are you?
We're doing fantastic, thank you. And Charlie, apparently a deadline has gone by for taxpayers, and we want to know what happens for people who have not filed timely taxes or extensions.
Yeah, the deadline was last Monday. That was for the extension deadline. So if you have not filed your 2015 tax return, you are late. And what that means is that the IRS is now adding 5% per month on top of your tax debt, up to 25%. So it's really important to get those tax returns in now and not wait any longer, because it could substantially increase the amount of tax debt you owe. But there's other problems besides that. You may not get a refund if you wait too long. The IRS won't work with you to solve your tax problem. So if you owe money, they won't work with you to solve that until you file your tax return. Also, the IRS may file what's called a substitute for return if you don't file it yourself, and generally, almost always, that tax debt is a whole lot more than what it really is, and they're going to come after you and say you owe 2 or 3 times what you really do and start coming after you for that. And also, if it really becomes an issue where you're not paying or filing multiple years, they can come after you criminally for not filing. So, if you're not filing because you think you owe them some money and you're hoping that you can avoid having them take collection activity, they're going to get you anyway. So do yourself a favor and get the tax returns filed now.
So, Charlie, tax returns are actually due April 15th, as I recall, but from April 15th to last Monday, it's pretty easy to get an extension.
You just file a little form just to get an extension. It's till October 15th normally, unless that falls on a holiday or a Saturday or Sunday, which it did this year. And so that's why it was due on the 17th this year rather than the 15th. But so that time is run.
Even when you file those extensions, you're still obligated to send some money to the IRS if you estimated what you think your tax liability may be. So you're not delaying the payment. But,
not at all.
But on October 15th, no more extensions. That's it. And you may file at a later date, but you're now going to owe the IRS a penalty, no ifs, ands, or buts.
Starting at 5% a month.
That's pretty substantial.
It sure is.
Okay. And then when you said that the IRS will sometimes file a tax return on your behalf, I guess that's just based on whatever 1099s that they've received.
Or sometimes they do it based on past years, but generally 1099s are other information. And when they do that, they only give you one exemption and no other deductions whatsoever.
Well, just out of curiosity, how often do you see the IRS actually doing that, filing a substitute return on behalf of people?
Very often. And people always think, hey, the government did it for me. They're doing me a favor. No, they're not.
Okay.
They're trying to get you in the collection system. So it's not doing a favor, but they do it all the time.
So let's say that the IRS did file that return on your behalf and they way overestimated the amount of tax liability that you have. Are you allowed to then go in and amend that eventually and file a proper return?
Absolutely. And we do that every time because, again, that's exactly what happens is the tax liability is much higher. And if we're going to end up paying it back, being an installment agreement or some other situation like that, we want to make sure we get the correct amount. And so we'll always file a tax return on top of their substitute for return so we get the right amount.
I got you. Hey, Charlie, remind the listeners about the book and how people will have access to it.
Yeah, I wrote a book. It's called I Can't Pay the IRS, Now What? And we offer it free to your listeners. If they go to theirsbook.com, theirsbook.com, they can download it for free and get a hard copy, or they can download my app, which is IRS 1099. They can just go to Apple or Google and download that. They can get it through there, and it got a lot of interesting videos and things as well.
Yeah, Charlie, I saw your app, and that is quite slick. Nicely done on that.
Thank you very much.
And then tell the listeners how they might reach you at your office.
They can call us actually through the IRS 1099 site, which is irs1099.com, irs1099.com, or IRS 1099. 855 IRS 1099.
Thank you, Charlie. That's attorney Charlie Price with the Price Law Firm right here in Orlando. And, of course, when we have clients who call us that have some tax needs, issues with the IRS, of course, we're going to refer them to our good friend Charlie Price. Folks, my name is Tom Olsen. The name of the show is Olsen on Law. You're listening to News 96.5.